How's it going, Blazers? Working to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. This is a Medford 187 drop point in S90V. So you can get in that steel. You see it from a few different places, but this one is from Kyle J. Landfear, so check out his channel if you want to look at some of the knives that he actually uses. So I mean, he has some knives that are over $1,000, probably some even more than that, and he uses them. So it's not like a safe queen, it's actually he uses them. So that's where some of the things happen with this knife that was not from Medford side. So that's where it might be a good thing for maybe spa treatment type of thing. And they have their legacy service that you can send your knife into. But that's the knife here. That's how it was in the pocket. I asked him about it because then on the pocket clip, it's a little bit bent. So that's where I was just making sure that that wasn't actually from the factory. He said it was just actually, it got bent out. He went and bent it back, I think on a shelf or something. But that's why that little, it's not exactly straight. So that's where that came from. And since it's a user knife, that might be also why the blade isn't totally centered. So it's not a totally centered blade. But it doesn't touch any of the scales or anything like that. But for price point wise, again, I can't say for certain as far as if this is how it comes, because it's a user knife. It's actually, it's for its purpose. It is a tool. So that's one thing that's really good about it. So the flame anodization is not done at the factory there, and also on the clip and the other side of the pivot there. So that's going to be how that looks for it. So this is how it is open. It is a very substantial knife. So this is one that I actually thought about picking up at one time. So that's where it was kind of nice to actually have them send it around, get it in hand without actually making the purchase, to see if I actually really would want to pick it up. So this one is a chunky knife. So weight wise, this is 8.1 ounces. So folks that say like ounce per inch, everything like that, just throw it out the window. If you want to get a Medford knife, you want to get some of these knives out here, this is not going to be that way. So 8.1 ounces for the channel is 40 quarters, which is one whole roll of quarters and a penny. So that's how much it's going to weigh. Or if you want to do it a different way, since I didn't have that many quarters, that would be 4 bug outs plus 2 quarters and a penny. So 4 of these, not like one plus some quarters on top of it. Stack 4 of these together, add 2 quarters and a penny. That's what this weighs, 8.1 ounces. So is that heavy? Yes. Is it the heaviest knife I felt? No. That goes over to half-breed knives. That was like a pound. It's huge. So if you like big knives, then that might be the way to go. So price wise is about $475 that we can pick it up with the S90V blade. Some of the flame anodization would be some extras to that, because I don't think it comes that way. At least the ones that I saw did not have the flame anodization on it. So that's something that you might want to check into if that's actually what you want to pick up. This one, for the live pull gauge for the detent, this one came out to 1 pound 13.8 ounces. So that's actually to get this to open up. So basically I put in the alignment pull gauge and actually do a pull on it, and then to actually open the blade is 1 pound 13.8, which is actually still really good. So normally for myself it's about 2 to 3 pounds. Something with a thumb stud, I'm good with that. No weight for it, because that's where it can be a little bit less. This one actually does use, these aren't thumb studs or anything else, these are actually the external blade stops. So in the closed position as well as the open position, that's where it does it. And it's very substantial as far as the lockup and just the feel in hand. So you can actually see where that locks up as well. So it's going to be probably about that 45 percentile, almost 50th, 50% lockup for it. That's also one thing that's kind of an odd thing, is because a lot of things are really exposed for the knife. Like basically the lock face is exposed. The actual the detent track is also exposed. So that's something that is kind of, it seems like it's something that a lot of designs have gone away from, as far, especially like the detent track being exposed like that. It does have a benefit where you can actually lubricate it, take care of the detent ball, clean things as far as the track a little bit better. But also you're going to get some grime in there a little bit more too. But That's kind of more preferences for that, but fairly handsome as far as the knife goes. But especially when I brought this over to work, so I was opening boxes and whatnot, and then somebody saw it and I was like, "Seen a Medford before?" They're like, "No," so I let them handle it. But they felt it was overkill, which it is, especially for what I was doing. I'm not doing anything that's crazy or tactical or anything like that, but it is something that still is enjoyable for the knife. So the cutting edge for this one, so you figure the blade length is 4.195, basically from this lobe here all the way up to the blade tip is 4.195. The cutting edge is 3.825. So that's where you do lose some of the cutting edge with that front choil area, which seems like it's kind of a two-part thing because there's the barrel spacer right back here. So there needs to be room for that. It's for being such a large knife, it's kind of a small choil. I have kind of thinner fingers and that fits kind of in there, but it's not the largest one. So that's kind of, I guess, the downside, I think, for it. So it may not have been even designed to choke up like that, but it's just fairly small. So if it is just to get past that barrel spacer, it could probably been done a little bit differently than that. But that's the overall, this is kind of their opening price point type of knife for this. I think I saw some of his videos where, especially if for his new employees that actually work there, I think they're on their year anniversary, they get to build their own 187, which is really cool to be able to actually get something that you were part of and actually build it and actually be able to own it, which is a pretty cool thing to do. Made in USA, of course, in Arizona for that. This one is a hollow grind, so the good and bad about that is normally hollow grinds are pretty good in the fact that they make a good slicing blade, but this blade stock is about 4.9 millimeters, so it is a very thick blade stock, and I found that it didn't cut very well as far as a thicker material, which is something that you're going to come to experience for any knife, not just a Medford knife. So now cutting through things like paper, single wall, cardboard, you'll probably be all right with it, but that's where it's more so the apex, more so than the actual blade stock thickness, and that's where you're going to have with a lot of different knives with that. So degree of ramp is actually really good. So what is degree of ramp? That's what I call it. So basically that's when you disengage the liner lock, frame lock, and then how long it takes for that detent ball to get onto the blade. And as you saw there, maybe, so you got from this point to that point is when that detent ball gets onto the blade, which is about 15 degrees, which is actually really good. Normally about 20 degrees is really good, 30 is okay, 40 and above is kind of excessive for that. The carry position is only going to be that right hand tip up for this one, so no left hand carry for it. I think they make, I'm not 100% certain, but I think they make some left-handed knives too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think they do. So you can do a left-handed one as well. So if it's either if you're left-handed or if you need something for your weak side or your non-dominant side, then you can do that as well. And then out of pocket, it's 1 pound, 13 ounces to actually get this out of pocket. So that's how much detent this pocket clip actually provides for the pocket. And that's coming out of that regular jeans out you saw at the front of the video. For this one, I'm kind of happy that I did not buy one of these. I have a Smooth Criminal, and that's kind of what's around my wheelhouse, what I kind of like. I might like the Slim MIDI a little bit more, something similar to that, but there are just a few things that it just seems like this one, it just lacks a little bit of that final finish side of things. So that's where kind of this point here, so in holding the knife, this lock bar area right at the tip here, you can feel that quite a bit, and also even for where the lock bar is cut out, There's no finishing for that, so it's it's not a sharp edge, but it's a pronounced edge where you can feel that. But really that corner is probably the one just to knock that off a little bit, to get that to be a little bit better feel on hand, because that's where it kind of gets that front pointer finger quite a bit for me in that sense. But that's really where it comes down to, as far as it's a very chunky knife. It does what it's supposed to do. It is that Medford style. I know he's expanding a lot of his designs. I really enjoyed talking with him at one of the blade shows. And then he does have a slip joint out too, so if you want to check that out, that's a cool little thing to pick up. It would be nice to get him into the Pass-On group, but that's never worked out yet. So we'll see if that ever comes into fruition for the group. So if other folks can check out Medford Knives that may not normally, and then kind of get that out there. But that's the kind of the things that I was talking about, and just those little kind of finished things for it. Again, it's kind of the base for the Medford, and he's come and made different designs, different iterations. So go to their website. They also have a custom shop. So as you see on like Benchmade, there's custom shops. They start to do custom shops as well for Medford. So that might be another thing to look at to see if you actually want to customize yours and actually have it be more your own, instead of picking up the standard flare that you find at some of the shops. But it's a way to do it, and that's a way to do things. But if you ever do want to also do legacy service, they are offering that now as well. That's on their website. Give some pricing and everything. But this might be one that could use some legacy service and get maybe that clip changed out or fixed. Check on the blade centering. If they could knock down some things. I don't know if you can customize or ask for those type of things, but that's where if I owned this knife and I was sending it back in, I would see if they could do that, if it doesn't take away too much from what he wants the knife to be, look like, and function, and all those things. But that is about all I have to say about that one today. But we are going to look at just some different sizing comparisons and just see if you want to check that out. So that's going to be a wrap. Number 2, you already saw the bug out, and then you have like a pair of 3 right there. But that's about all I have to say about that one, and thank you again for your time.